Hey guys, the reason I filmed this on mobile is because I filmed it on my PC and it wasn't uploading. Also, sorry for no intro. Tomorrow I'm making the intro. I just have a lot and I have to do stuff and I have to edit a lot of videos and sorry about that. Thank you guys for 318 chicken nuggets. So it shows up in YouTube Studio that I have that many. But then on like YouTube it shows 312, but and I keep thinking I'm losing subscribers when I check and I'm not, so I'm very confused. But yeah, enjoy the video.
The time that I dated a sociopath. So I met this guy that we'll call Aaron at my best friend's birthday party. He was super attractive, but honestly, I was flirting with his friend the whole night, which looking back on it, I think is what got his attention. By the end of the night, he went out of his way to talk to me, and I noticed just how absolutely charming he was, and I was shocked that he was single. So he asked for my number, and I of course gave it to him. And for our first date, we ended up going hiking. PSA for your safety, I do not recommend this for a first date. While everything seemed fine originally, this is where the conversation got weird. He talked to me about how he was attracted to me because I was going into the mental health field. He feels like no one can figure him out. He struggled with relationships for years because he continually puts on masks for people, but they can only last for so long before they come off and a breakup occurs and the other person sees his true self. But he says that this is why he's so good at sales. He's able to be whoever he wants to be for each person. He customizes it. Never once did he talk about his own emotions regarding situations, just his protection of his own reputation, as if he sees people as a way to get something or protect something. Soon I was contacted by a family member. Stay tuned for part 2. Hey guys, so welcome to part 2 of me dating a sociopath. So his cousin reached out to say that this is what he does to girls. He stays in someone's life for a little bit, absolutely destroys it, and then pieces out. The person that he dated before me was a mom of 2 kids. He walked into her life, pretended to be a father figure, and then once he couldn't hold that mask for too long, he left. He only lasted like 3 months. Of course, me being absolutely stupid, I decided to continue dating this person. Part of it was because I was attracted to them, and another part was just pure fascination. He always told me what I wanted to hear. Looking back on it, I know that I was just another person that he customized whatever he had to say to. But not only did he win me over, he went out of his way to impress every single person in my life so that he would for sure have an in. And then on my birthday of last year, he called me to tell me he was too busy to date me. And I was beyond upset with myself for seeing so many red flags and still continuing. And that's when one of his best guy friends reached out to me, saying that he had been dating my best friend's little sister the entire time, talking to her, going on dates with her, having her over right after me, completely two timing. I cut him off and haven't heard from him in a year. Until last week. Stay tuned and follow me on Instagram. I guess here's part 3 of me dating a sociopath with receipts. So I went out downtown with my boyfriend Jeremy and a few of our friends. Went to a few bars and a couple clubs and had a great time, came home, was getting ready for bed, and then I got a text on my Snapchat. Y'all know the feeling of seeing someone's name pop up on your phone that you haven't seen as a notification for over a year. It's weird. Essentially, he was apologizing about a year ago, saying that he feels like he hasn't wronged someone as much as he's wronged me, but that he saw me tonight and essentially followed me to each place that we went and talked to my friends about me and how beautiful I looked, even though he is still with my friend's little sister. We'll call her Ava. But do y'all see how creepy that is? Like, I never saw him. Like, I don't know what's wrong with my monitor, but then he called me. I'm pretty sure he thought that I wasn't going to be around my boyfriend anymore. That's why he waited. But I put him on speaker so my boyfriend could listen too. And he just went on, and I knew I was going to have to let his girlfriend know. So I called my friend and let her know what happened. She said she was going to tell her sister tonight. And that night she said Ava and her wanted to do a group FaceTime. This story basically turns into Catch a Cheater. Stay tuned and follow me on Instagram for more content. Okay, here's part 4 to dating a sociopath. So I got on the phone with my best friend and Ava said, and I quote, that Aaron let her know about the phone call and the text messages, but said it was because my boyfriend and I were following him around the entire night. What? She already knew that it was sus, and she had been having a gut intuitive feeling that the relationship wasn't okay for the past few weeks. So me showing her the message kind of just confirmed her feelings, and she was going to confront him on it and give him a chance to explain himself. Well, this man decides to contact me again. I immediately text Ava and send her the messages, and he asked to call me a second time. This is when we decide to record the phone call. If you guys want, I can put in a few of the clips just so you can see how this man finesses and charms. But during this phone call, he essentially said that the text messages between me and him made him come to the conclusion that his relationship with Ava was not at its best, and he was going to meet with her to break up with her, but that they were obviously still going to be friends, and he was only concerned about his reputation and his standing with their family. This makes me wonder what he's even saying to other girls, since he's saying this with someone that's so close to them. Stay tuned for the update and add me on Instagram.
Ever get the feeling you're being watched?
Story time. Someone tried to murder me on a school trip. So during my senior year, I started talking to this guy that we can call Tyler. And we all had to go on a school trip for a competition. During this, we had to stay in a hotel room and we were all assigned partners. Well, I didn't know this at the time, but I was actually assigned Tyler's ex-girlfriend. We can call her Penny. And when I found out she was his ex, I was like, you know what? Not a big deal. I'm probably just overthinking it, but she had a reputation for being psychotic. And I mean psychotic. Since we were all in close quarters, it didn't take her long to figure out that I was talking to her ex, and she went crazy on me. She basically threatened me by saying that if she ever saw me with him again, I wouldn't be coming home to my family. I still honestly didn't take her that seriously until the next day she saw us kissing, and she left the hotel room to buy throwing knives for when I got back. So when I reached the hotel room that day, she was yelling at me, threatening me, and then she took out one of the knives. Stay tuned for part 2 and follow me on Insta. Part 2 to me almost getting murdered on my school trip. So when Penny took out one of the knives, she literally threw it right at me. Somehow it only managed to land 5 inches from me and I was okay. So I took off running out of the hotel room. I immediately went to our director, and literally because her parents fund most of the band stuff, he straight up couldn't care less. I told my mom, who happened to work with the superintendent's wife, so she told her the whole story and gave my mom his phone number. Let's just say they were suspended and the teacher was fired. She swore up and down that her and Tyler were going to get back together, but it's been 3 years later and she's still crazy and he still hates her, and I'm still with him. So I guess the moral of the story is please take it seriously if someone threatens you, especially if it's a crazy ex. Love you guys. Follow my Insta and DM me if you have your own story that you want to share.
New Cetaphil Sheer High.
Sane boss. So as a lot of you guys know, for 4 years, I worked as a Disney princess. It wasn't in Disney World or anything, it was a place locally, but it was still one of the most fun jobs I've ever had. Our boss, however, was her own kind of person. She was continuously going through cycles of being on and off with different boyfriends, and we could always tell if they were together or not by the way she treated us. Like anytime there was a fight, she would always take it out on us. There was one time where we were just setting up in the back, and she walked back yelling, saying to stop gossiping about her. Literally none of us were even talking. She also had a massive issue with hoarding, so like all of the back rooms were filled with junk. She started to get a lot of calls from tax collectors, and she would always make one of us answer the phone. Eventually they started to stop by, and she would just go hide. A couple weeks after this, I came in for work, and the entire place had been robbed. Things stolen, glass everywhere. And she told me my social security had been taken. However, I knew something was off. Like and share and I'll do a part 2. Ooh. Fasting. So when I got into work that day and I just walked in and saw the glass everywhere, I just turned to her and I was like, what happened? Like, she wasn't explaining it to anyone. She was just sitting there at the desk acting like it was a normal day. And she was like, well, we were robbed and they took a lot of stuff. However, we made the observation that everything that was stolen was something that was broken. Almost as if the robber knew that that printer, that MP3 player, and that computer wasn't working. We also all made the observation that the glass was outside of the building. So it was like someone broke the glass from inside. The police were up there asking questions, and she was talking to them about how my social security was stolen along with a few of the other girls. But I guess it wasn't an issue since we were under 18. I don't know. But our theory was that she was probably cashing a check from that whole robbery thing, and that it was probably covered by insurance. Either way, she did not have the money to stay in business, so we had new management.
This is why you should always trust your gut. In the 1970s, a young couple decided to go for a late-night hike in the woods. A couple minutes into their walk, and the man remembers thinking something's not right. He tells his girlfriend, but they just decide to ignore it and keep going, until he steps on something that felt really soft, like it was alive. Before he has a chance to see what he stepped on, they hear all this rustling in the bushes next to them, and they bolt. Years later, that couple turns on the TV, and a death row inmate who's about to be executed is being interviewed. And they ask him, was there ever a time that you were almost caught red-handed? He responded, yes, one time. I was in the woods, and a couple walked through, and the man actually stepped on the body of a girl I had just killed. I was hiding in the bushes just a few feet away. They didn't see me. That couple had run into one of the worst serial killers of all time, Ted Bundy.
Story time about how my best